Happy Vlogmas Day 6. We're going to be decorating my studio. We've got everything up for fall still, but I took all of my parents' Christmas decorations from their house and we're going to be putting that up in my studio so that I can have a cute Christmas set for the month of December. Let's get started. I'm gonna move the couch out of the way first.
Move it half into the hall here for now.
That's a fire hazard. Let's move it like next to this lady.
Next to the lady.
For everybody who keeps asking me about trout, for one, the more you ask me, kind of the less I want to do it. But I am going to be finishing it. That's kind of my goal for January. That's why I'm kind of taking some time off from doing editing and that kind of stuff. I do really want to get Frau done, but please stop asking me. It stresses me out. Great, here we are. Got this red curtain that I want to put up. It's not a red curtain, it's just a red piece of fabric. I think that the tree is going to stand out more if I have red back there rather than the green.
It's also Christmassy.
It's also Christmassy.
That works, yeah.
This looks like it goes there. Okay, so we gotta fluff the branches before we move on to the next one. Lots of little needles.
Just like a real tree.
So the bottom layer of our tree just doesn't light up, but that's okay, you can't really see it anyways. We're probably gonna add our own lights too. This is so cute already! Moved the tree, not the tree, moved this guy, that table around and added a mirror. Wow, now I can actually take outfit selfies. We're gonna put ornaments on the tree now. We're all done decorating. We forgot to make our advent calendar cocktail before we started decorating, but that's kind of okay because it's like noon now. It's like 1, and morning cocktails aren't always the best. But we're gonna make some lunch and eat in front of our Christmas tree and make a cocktail. Okay, so let's pick an old-fashioned. Oh, that means we get to try the Brothers Bond bourbon. Yeah. All right, let's go do that. Before we start our cocktail or eat lunch, we're gonna try the vampire bourbon. I wonder if they get upset when people call it the vampire bourbon, or if they're just like, yes, that's the point.
We could call it the brotherly bourbon.
Pop. Okay, smell it. That smells pretty good.
Yeah, it does. I'd drink it.
Well, we're about to, so.
Brothers Bond. Better than...
That is far better than the rye whiskey. Like, that does not taste like gasoline. That's pretty good.
That is pretty good.
Good job.
Brothers.
What's their names? Ian and Paul. Good job. All right, let's make our thing. We're making an old fashioned. Okay, so we need a glass. We need a mixing glass and we need a normal glass. Oh, I don't think we need 2 glasses because we don't have any ice.
Right.
1 teaspoon of sugar. We're just splitting one, right?
Yeah.
Teaspoon of sugar. 3 dashes of bitters.
Ah, the mythical dash.
1, 2, 3.
Sure.
Is that a dash? So we'll just stick a little teeny bit of water in here.
My baby.
It looks very cool.
Oh, yeah.
All right, added the water in there.
Proof.
It says to stir until the sugar dissolves.
Seems unlikely.
Yeah. A shot. Oh, there she goes. Yeah, your butt's in the way. All right, let's add the bourbon. We do not have 1 large ice cube, nor do we have an orange for an orange twist. So this is it. That's the end. Are you ready to try it?
I am very ready. I assume it's just gonna be
Mostly
sweet.
bourbon.
Sweet bourbon.
It's pretty okay.
Yeah.
It's much better than what was the other thing we tried? A Manhattan? Hated that. Did not like Manhattan. Old Fashioned's okay though. Okay. Let's make lunch. Then eat it in front of our Christmas tree.
Yeah.
Like weirdos.
Like weirdos.
Hi, baby bat. You want to be in frame? I gotcha! Oh, my baby. Merry Christmas, baby bat. Happy holidays. No, I hate it. Okay. The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea. This was a fairy loot book. It's by Axie O. She is first generation Korean. Love that. This book started off so strong. Started off really well. I liked it a lot. Micah was like, I didn't like the book so much. And I was like, how could you not like this book? This book is great. The characters are good. It moves at kind of a weird pace, but I like weirdly paced books. I don't know, has a plot that is kind of odd but disjointed, but that's fine with me. And I liked the characters a lot. Character development maybe felt a little bit rushed, but like, you know, that's what happens with books that are not super long and not Crescent City, where the character development was way too slow. I felt like this could have been multiple books. This could have been a series where we focus on each character a little bit so that we do feel a little bit more attached, because I felt like the relationship between the main couple was not, it felt very rushed. It was like, why are you guys so invested in each other all of a sudden? But, you know, that just kind of, that's what happens with books that are short. Fine. About 200-ish pages in, how far am I? 262? Yeah, around 200 pages in, it kind of started falling apart. Like, there would be little pockets, like paragraphs of really well-written sections.
Prose.
Where it was like very descriptive, beautiful, emotionally impactful, and then they were all very disjointed and didn't connect up very well. So what I think happened is that she was like, oh, I have this great idea for a scene. So she wrote all these little vignettes and then had postcards of these vignettes and was like, now these need to come together to make a story. And that's where it fell apart. You find out really early on that her niece was either miscarried or she died as an infant. I can't remember which. That's like something you're given within like the first couple chapters, so it's not like a big plot point. It would have been so much better as a really big plot point, because at one point this goddess is like, I don't know, this is a little bit of spoilers. I don't know how much it's actually spoilers, because they do give it to you at the very beginning. She's like, oh, I have your memory, haha. And then it turns out to be this memory that you already knew basically happened. Like you have the whole memory already revealed to you before you get to this scene, without, like, in not as many words.
A goddess holding her memory for ransom doesn't make much sense if we already know it.
Right, we already know this memory, and it's played off like, can you take bites in between my phrases? It's just really loud. So we already know this memory. We've basically experienced this memory with her without all of like the visceral detail, but we know what happened. And then she tries to use it as this big reveal, like whiplash turnaround, but we already knew that happened. So I feel like it would have been so much more impactful as a reveal if we didn't already know that her niece had died, if we didn't know that that was an event that had happened, and that had been revealed as like a big emotional point in her life that we didn't know about yet. But as it's revealed, it was just kind of like, okay, goddess, you're the only one who's behind here. We already knew this happened. So it wasn't like, there was no impact. I was just like, why? What is the point of this section? I don't know. Some of the relationships, so like between Namgi and Kieran, is a pretty fraught relationship where Namgi is like, I love Kieran, he's like my brother, and Kieran is like, I don't trust Namgi. And then we get to this part where it's in a really emotional scene between them, and it just had no impact, because it was like, well, Kieran did not, like, there was no emotional work to get Kieran to this point. So, I don't know, it felt like it should have been a series where things got more fleshed out. It felt like everything was, there were a few really beautifully written sections that just were completely disconnected, and it felt like she used up all of her energy at the beginning of the book, and then by the end of the book, it was just kind of like, well, I gotta get this done. Here you go.
Well, you're not done yet.
I'm not done yet, that's true, but you didn't like it at the end, so that doesn't really bode well.
Everything gets tied up in a nice little bow.
Which is also, I think that's the reason I like Starless Sea so much. People still have kind of tragic endings.
Yeah, I mean, the whole point of it is that, you know...
It's a journey, not the ending.
Stories end, sure, but that doesn't mean that other stories don't continue.
Yeah, I think that is my big problem with, like, YA or just, like, adult fantasy book talk and fairy loot kind of books is most of them seem to get wrapped up really, really nicely and really neatly and in ways that maybe are not super plausible. So I don't know, like, I think I just like depressing books that end depressing, even though it's kind of hard for me to read them over and over again, like in sequence. I don't know, happy endings just, they're not as compelling.
Did you read the Animorphs books?
Yeah.
Do you remember how those ended?
They all got on a ship and then it just kind of ended.
One of them dies.
I'm sorry if you have not read all of Animorphs and you're reading them. Spoilers for Animorphs, I guess.
So then there's a time skip, and suddenly they're a spacefaring, you know, race of humanity. They get a distress signal from, I don't know, Tobias or maybe Axe, you know, the alien. They go out to this abandoned space station, and someone comes over the, you know, communications and says, I'm doing this terrible thing, we're gonna take over, or like, I've got your friends, and
oh, they blow up.
And Jake says, all right, we're gonna ram them. And people were so mad.
I don't know, I like that.
But the author was like, look, I just want it to be clear that, like, yeah, well, we solved one story. They're always out there doing stuff. I don't want you to imagine them just happily ever after.
I like it when the books wrap up their characters in such a way that, like, it feels realistic. Like, if you wrote a book about my life, right, you could end it anywhere, and depending on where you end it, that'll be a happy or bad ending. But I keep existing unless I die. That
would be a good ending.
Definitive ending. This is going to be spoilers for Scholomance. So if you haven't read it, you want to read it, you don't want spoilers, I will put a timestamp so you can skip over this section. Orion should have just died. He should have been taken out all of the enclaves that he mouthed. Like, he should have died, and they should have been left with the wreckage, and it should have ended with them trying to rebuild all of these enclaves in the wake of Orion's death. That's how that book should have ended.
It would have been good for Elle's growth as well, to see her handle him actually being gone.
Yeah, handle him being gone, figuring out how to keep living without him, and how to continue on her mission of rebuilding enclaves in a way that doesn't have to kill people, and her finding her fulfillment through that rather than through Orion existing. Like, that would have been so much better, but instead they found some kind of loophole where Orion gets to live again, and it was clever. Like, I will give her that she found a very clever loophole to keep Orion alive, but it would have been more compelling if Orion had just died and taken all those enclaves with him. My personal opinion.
Speaking of, I don't think you've shared with them what your commenter or friend told you about.
One of my friends messaged me privately about this, and apparently it's all just dreary fan fiction. Scholomance is entirely dreary fan fiction. Elle is supposed to be Harry, and Orion is Draco somehow. Don't eat the bite that I just took.
I thought about it.
Honestly, I don't really understand how it got from that point to what Scholomance is now. And I would love to read that, but Naomi Novik founded AO3, so she was a fan fiction.
Yeah.
Okay, well, she was one of the founders of AO3, so she's a fan fiction writer first. Apparently, this used to be a dreary fan fiction. I'm very curious.
Yeah, we gotta find that.
Okay. This is the end of Scholomance Spoilers. We can go back to our regularly scheduled content now.
I don't think that was a spoiler, and you should cut to it so that they can hear that it was a dreary fanfic.
No, I'll just say you can go back to this part. I'll timestamp where we started talking about not spoilers, so you can experience the dreary. That's pretty much all I wanted to talk about.
Books.
I love talking about books. Okay, so the next book I have to read is Night Circus, since that is the next fairy loot theme is Night Circus. So I will be reading that next. If you guys have other suggestions for me to read, let me know in the comments and I will read those and give you my feisty opinion on that as well. I'm very judgmental with books. I either really love them or I'm like, this could have been so much better. I have a lot of high opinions of myself as an editor, even though I've never edited anyone's book. It's great. I would drink this again.
Yeah, me too. Absolutely. I think it would be good with ice too.
I'm so glad Ian Somerhalder's brand is not a disappointment.
I know.
So Night Circus next. I'm kind of trying to work my way through the Fairy Loot books, but I also haven't read A Court of Silver Flames, and I'm going to be cosplaying Nesta, so I feel like I do need to read that at some point. So Night Circus and Silver Flames are probably my next two books, but if you have suggestions, let me know. That's it. Baby Bet's sleeping very cutely right off screen, otherwise I would drag her into here for you guys to see her, but I'm not going to be mean. So yeah, happy Vlogmas Day 6 now, I think. 6. So I will see you guys tomorrow. If you like this video, thumbs up, you know, all that. Comment me books and stuff. Subscribe if you want to keep seeing me talk about books. And if you want to see tomorrow's cocktail, see you guys tomorrow.